Welcome, everybody, to OK Every Day, a podcast about transactional analysis, or TA, where we continue diving into how to make our lives okay every day. Hey, Jason,
Hey, Ollie.
today's episode is special. And, Jason, what is so special
Yeah,
about
very,
today's
very
episode?
special. Very special.
Very
Today,
special.
very special. Today's episode is on a retrospective.
Whoa, we're planning to do a retrospective?
Yes, Ollie. And what is a retrospective?
Good question. I've always thought that it's our analysis on how retro and old school and cool we actually are. What do you
I think
think?
there's some of that for sure today.
Yeah. Yeah, but in in all fairness, the retrospective is an analysis of past events, experiences, and works. It actually comes from Latin retrospectare. Yeah?
I'm very
So
impressed, sir. I'm very impressed.
yes, yes. We were talking about Greek a lot in previous episodes. I think I put in, tr
Yeah,
sprinkle in a little bit of Latin. But
yeah.
generally, this is viewers, listeners, this is one thing that we want to continue doing on a more or less regular basis, just to check in on ourselves, like we all should, I think, check in on ourselves generally. But we also want to check in on us as a podcast. So we've got three questions, which we will just we'll see how they go. It's not that we prepare them. We prepare the questions, but we didn't prepare the answers, did we?
No,
We never do.
no.
Three questions to look into how our journey has been so far and what we're looking forward to. So, the first question we agreed on was, what do you think of the season so far?
Okie doke. I'll shoot off first on that
Mm.
one. What do I think of the season so far? Well, I mean, I love this idea of retrospective, and I love this idea of slowing down, right, and
Oh,
taking
yeah.
care of ourselves and checking in. I think that's we should probably do more of that, Ollie, in our episodes. Remind people, slow down, check in, see how you're going.
Yeah, true.
So I'm very much looking forward to this episode. So I mean, the season so far, like I think you and I have kind of said this many times. Like we're just absolutely thrilled that we're still doing this, it's season three, and looking forward to season four. So very happy that we're still plodding away. And just, guess what pops into my head there around slowing down is I really did enjoy the drivers.
Mm.
Um, we put some decent time, I think, into each driver.
Yeah.
And that kind of forced me to slow down and think about how am I affected by the drivers? So,
Mm.
I think I really like that because, obviously one of them is hurry up, and the antidote to that is slow down. So I think this is giving, taking a breather, just to look back and see how far we've come and what we've done.
Yeah.
And then I know behind the scenes, you and I have been working on some things that we're going to release pretty soon, which I'm very happy about too. We can't we
That's a
can't we can't share it at the moment.
that's our third question. So don't.
There you go.
That's
Okay.
shh. Let's
Um,
come back to this in two questions
yes.
time, please.
Yeah. No, but I think we did a really good job of Taby Kaler's drivers, and
True.
I think you did a brilliant job of putting together some of the footage of the characters that we chose because it actually, the more we got into it, Ollie, the funnier it got. I found, I mean, when we
Yeah.
were trying to think of movies and characters, and then you just did a great job of going on the internet and pulling down some, especially that Batman one. Actually, that was probably my
I'm
favorite.
Batman.
The Batman one was probably my favorite. So well done, you. But yeah, so I often just kind of think about it and laugh, to be honest with
Uh,
you. Yeah, that's about it for me. What about for you? What's been the
well,
retrospective on the season so far?
first of all, thanks for the stroke. I really appreciated that stroke. It's really nice, and I enjoy doing these, video edits. So it takes some time, but video editing is definitely something I enjoy doing. I think more so a plus one to what you said. I sometimes it's difficult to believe that I'm in a third season of a podcast. You know, whatever podcast it might have been, I would never think that I would have three seasons of a podcast. And here we are, season three, going very well. I think the driver topic, um, I think they're always relevant, but they were really relevant for me specifically this year because of a lot of things that were happening. I think, what do I think of the season so far? I enjoyed all of our seasons, but this one, I think I can always, especially this year, I always refrain to particular episodes when I'm talking to people.
Mm.
So this season we're focused on drivers, and I've had countless conversations at work where someone tells me, oh, they're tired or they're in a rush or they have to keep some kind of work facade. And I immediately think of one of the episodes that we did on the drivers. And, if again, being very suggestive, so I'd ask first, I'd contract first, so to speak, saying if I could share something with you. And then if they say yes, I would go back to one of the episodes and say, oh, listen, this is if you're all tired, here's a great episode on try hard. Maybe that's one of the things that could help you kind of look at things from a different perspective. So,
I,
what I think of the season so far is basically its applicability in
yeah,
multiple
yeah,
areas of life and work, and I really like that.
yeah. Actually, that inspires me too because it reminds me how practical we're still keeping it. And that was one of our overall goals, Ollie, was at the very beginning when we were kicking this off, that we said we've got to make sure it's practical for life and work. And I think we're hitting that nail on the head I think probably
True.
getting better at it. So I thank you for that because it just reminded me that pleases me very much.
Likewise, huge thanks. And I think that the humor we bring to this is also very, very important because it's like we can always be very serious about stuff. But then I think this is what I get from presentations at work specifically. If they're serious for too long, I kind of I phase out a little bit. So if there's no humor in it, it's really difficult to perceive. And I think humor is the ultimate way of putting the thing into people, putting the right
Mm.
seeds into people, with a safe in a safe way.
Well, I think that's a great segue to the next question,
It
isn't
is.
it?
It is. Specifically, what drivers showed up for us in the last 6 months? Do you want me to kick that
Yeah,
off?
you keep on going. You're doing a beautiful job.
Oh, thank you so much, Jason. You know what? Like I was thinking about this. I know there's no right answer, but I think the right answer is all of them, right? So, because all of the drivers show up, and sometimes we all have them. They all sometimes get out of balance. And I think one of the key findings from this season is that the drivers, as again, a lot of things in TA are not good or bad. It's when they're out of balance, when they get really tough, right? So I think the last 6 months for me have been pretty intense. And I think the two drivers that stand out, one a little bit more with the flavor of the other, would be try hard and hurry up. Those would be the two drivers that that showed up, and specifically because I think I got this more ambitious achiever mindset a lot of the time, right?
Mm,
So there's launching season 3 of a
mm,
podcast, and doing all the video editing. Then there's the music aspect of what I like doing. I play in a band. We've had 2 gigs from the beginning of the year, and we've had a recording session. So we're trying to work on an EP, launch an EP for ourselves. We had like a 4-day recording session. So then there's jujitsu, the other huge, huge passion of mine, which I signed up for 2 competitions. I got my
mm.
blue belt. I'm in a journey of launching my own business, which I'm really, really looking forward to, but that also takes up a lot of time. And after 10 and a half years at Google, I've decided, well, Google at the same role, I've also decided to make a change within Google. So I've taken another role, another responsibility, another job. So to find myself in something new, and that's a lot to happen in 6 months, you
I'm
know.
exhausted just listening, Ollie.
And all our listeners just fell asleep.
Not at all. They're all going, wow, what the
But
heck?
I
Who is
mean,
this guy?
there are a lot of intense changes,
Mm,
and I think I'm super grateful for my wife and my son who are really, really supportive in all
mm,
this. But it's a huge privilege to actually be doing these things. But then I realize even when I was preparing here, it's like, yes, something's out of balance when I say that there's a lot of all of these things happening. Not necessarily it's great for achievement's sake, but I think it's also how do I feel at the end of these 6 months? And I remember we were connecting a few weeks ago and I said, I'm just pretty tired.
mm,
So I'd,
mm.
I'd like to just get a week of normal sleep, or something like that, which is exactly the um, the signal that I need to get to understand that one of the drivers or a few of the drivers are being out of balance. And I
Yeah.
think it's a good, again, segue to what we've been looking at in the past 6 months, specifically the drivers and how they show up.
Yeah.
What about you? What drivers showed up for you in the last 6 months?
Well, again, just listening to you there, it reminds me, we're talking about time. There's only so much
Mm,
time in the day, and how we use that, or feel used by it, is quite interesting because that's, something we talk about a lot is stress. And,
true.
this, stress in itself is an okay thing. It's when we pile on too much and move into distress, that's when it's not so good. And,
Mm.
when we fill up our time with lots of stuff, then we can move into distress. And I guess for me, I experienced some of that this year, by taking on, an MA
Oh.
on top of my practice. So, and a lot of what you talked about there, Ali, you do out of passion. Like you do this podcast out of passion. You do your music out of passion. Family too, all of that kind of stuff. And I didn't need to take on an MA, but I did it out of passion. It was something I was very, very interested in. But of course, when you squeeze that in on top of everything else,
Hmm.
you gotta make the time. And one of the great things, and this is like it's like a counter to one of the drivers, I think, which is the kind of, I guess, probably the hurry up in a way. One of the supervisors said, if you're going to do this MA, you need to give yourself a day a week, minimum. So don't even take it on unless you can do a day a week.
Mm.
This is before we all signed up, and I thought, she was spot on because it did take a full day a week just to do the reading, alongside the
Right.
writing and stuff like that. So that was, so I factored that into my diary, and if I hadn't, I
Mm.
think I would have been much more stressed. So I really credit, Bernadette Flanagan, who was the person who said
Mm.
that. She was spot on. But so that helped me with the hurry up driver, right? So I didn't
Right.
feel like I had to cram everything in. But what did get triggered is similar to yourself. For me, it was the try hard driver. I
Hmm.
noticed, even though the reading was an absolute pleasure, there were so many books to read. I remember having this when we looked at all the, structure of how much you have to read, how many essays you have in, and then the dissertation itself and the research. I had this kind of wave of, oh, I've bitten off more than I can chew here.
Right.
So my try hard driver went into overdrive, because I thought, with my dyslexia, I thought I'm just going to really struggle to read these books. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
uh, just the sheer mountain of it. But of course, I didn't have to read the books. You don't have to read the book from start to finish to get the messages from it. But I initially had this kind of, oh, and I mentioned it in our group. I said, actually, I just had a kind of a sense of feeling a bit overwhelmed with the idea of reading all these books.
Mm.
And it flicked me back to my childhood when I struggled to read. You know what I mean? So just noticing that really helped, to notice that driver was active.
Yeah, I think the awareness of these drivers are very important as well,
Absolutely.
right? And when you were saying it's funny how the two drivers that showed up for us the most are very similar. I
Yeah,
think one driver that showed up for me for the last month is when I changed the job would be perfect as well. It kept
interesting.
popping up, and it kept popping up more so um that there's two examples which I really liked from this year. So I went into a competition as a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. And because I just recently got my blue belt, I had zero expectations of performing well. Because I realized that the folks there, they could be new blue belts, but most likely they've been at blue belt for some time, so they would be technically a bit more advanced, which gave me this allowance of, oh, I don't really have to care about the result. It's more about just going there, getting out. And very few people on a on a Saturday, or I think it was a Sunday, on a Sunday evening would go to, get hurt in a jiu-jitsu tournament. So I already patted myself on the back by doing that, just by going out there. But then the second why I'm remembering this, so I gave myself I allowed myself not to be perfect, and I really liked that. It
Mm.
was a very freeing sensation. So I had 8 matches, I lost 7 of them. I feel no regret. I loved every single loss, and the one win that I had, I loved even more. But but then the change in the role was different because it's kind of technically it's within Google and within our partner teams.
Mm.
So it's something that I kind of have to know. And my expectation of myself was, oh, so I have to hit the ground running
Yeah.
just like that, just like I've always been doing this. And it took me some time and not only some time, but also some acknowledgments from my peers in the team saying, no,
Yeah.
no, no, nobody expects you to know all of this because even for us now working here, it's difficult. So it would be for anyone new joining from outside of the team. So I think it was a great example of, how Be Perfect has been balanced and not balanced over the past 6 months.
It's kind of spooky because that's what I was going to talk about myself just a moment ago. So we're very attuned here, Ali, because what I noticed in myself, and this has to do with kind of my age and experience. I've let go of the Be Perfect driver. I think it was a lot more active when I was younger, and I
Right.
noticed that on this course because there's people on the course a lot younger than me, and they were getting really worked up around trying to get stuff right.
Mm.
I mean, how do you write the bibliography? How do you write this? And trying to get it all just so. And I noticed
Mhm.
that, I could sit back and just allow them to kind of spin their wheels because that's how
Mm.
their kind of anxiety was coming out. And it was just the Be Perfect driver, right, going on right in front of me. But I wasn't affected by it because I knew, this stuff's small potatoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how to fix up a bibliography is not that big. Do you know what I mean? So, and I was able to just kind of sit with it. But I think your example and the example of myself there is how we can take on these kind of be perfect expectations,
Yeah.
both from a group, but also from inside. And one thing I'm just reflecting on there is my age and experience has allowed me to kind of quieten that one. Quite, I kind of just, it's not gone away, but it's just not.
It's
Um,
it's not as strong as
No,
it used to be.
doesn't influence me as much.
I think I understand you because when I was kind of reading through and rewatching the drivers again, like for example, Please Others doesn't really resonate with me that much anymore. It
Right.
did a long time ago, it did. Or Be Strong, especially with a lot of therapy and a lot of conversations, including conversations with yourself,
Mm,
Jason. I think there's a lot of opening up to vulnerability, to emotions, just being okay with talking about them. Oh, I feel angry or I feel sad
yeah. Yeah.
and just saying that that's the feeling and that's it. It doesn't have a judgment to it. It's just a feeling and nothing more.
Lovely.
But yeah, but Be Perfect does show up from time to time for me. So I've still not let it go. It's still what is it? Unconscious driver.
Yeah.
Coming out.
Well, the audience might know this, but I'm a little bit older than you, but they wouldn't be able to tell
I mean,
looking at us.
they could tell that you're the Wolverine, right?
Yeah. I think we settled that debate.
So-
Uh,
I'm not laughing. I'm not
no.
laughing. I'm not laughing. So listen, with all this being said, and uh, we're working on quite a few things right now. What are you looking forward to?
For the rest of this year, for the next 6 months.
Yes.
That's interesting. I'll probably break it down into different categories, to be honest with you. So again, my dissertation next Friday, it has to be in the 20,000 plus odd words. So I'm very much looking forward to getting that in. And then
Mm,
graduation again is in September. So I'm very much looking forward to being part of that, but also letting it sink in. Because somebody did say, once this is done, don't just kind of close the door on it. Let it
mm,
sink in what you've achieved and don't, how does it factor into your life? What are you going to do with it going forward?
hmm.
Um, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing what that might lead to. Do you know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
I did really enjoy the reading, so I want to keep the reading up in some way,
Okay.
you know. I'm very much looking forward to doing more of these because I know that we've got some really interesting stuff to move into.
Oh yeah.
Speaking
Oh
of
yeah.
time, we've got some really good stuff coming up, which we'll let everybody know about soon enough. Um, do you know yeah, it's hot at the moment, so so I think I'm
Just for folks listening or
yeah.
viewing, it's hot in Ireland, which is not necessarily rarely the case, but we do enjoy it when it's hot in Ireland in summer.
Yeah. And the place isn't on fire. So I'm looking forward to actually just getting into nature and just kind of sitting in the sun or even in the shade, and spending a bit more time with family because it is summer at the moment. So you know, I've got that kind of easy feeling starting to come over me now where
Mm.
he's going to take a break. Um, but yeah, again, I haven't got too many big goals because of the dissertation, because of finishing the MA. That was the big goal. Oh, I tell you what I am. I'm looking at it right now. I did buy myself 260, 240 acrylic pens. So I'm looking
Wow.
forward to doing a little bit of painting
Mm.
as a type of meditation. So that's actually I'm looking forward to that.
That sounds really cool and
Yeah.
very meditative.
Thank you, sir.
Meditative. I'm not. I'm more. Okay. Yeah.
And yourself,
Uh,
sir, what are you looking forward to?
um. I think it's fair to say that I'm looking forward to a lot less than I was in the first half of the year because I
Good call.
think, and that's actually the first half of the year helped me realize that I don't want to look forward to that much, that many things, because it puts a lot of stress. And I remember like first half of the year there was, I think there was a work thing, then there was the we had to travel somewhere, and the same week I had this tournament. So there was a lot of things happening at the same time, and I just didn't like the stress of that. I knew I could cope with it, but then there were a few of those moments, and I was thinking, I'm. I knew this would happen had I just spent a little time thinking about this, and pre-planning it a little bit. So I think it's slowing down definitely would be one of the
Mm,
things that I'm looking forward to. There's a few, looking forward to a vacation that we have planned.
nice.
We're going to Italy, so I really like Italy, Italian food. The Italian weather hopefully won't disappoint, because recently there have been cases where people say, "Oh, we'll go to Spain or Portugal," and the weather there was terrible, whilst Ireland did not disappoint at all
Mm,
in terms of weather. There's quite a few things on the musical front that I'm also looking forward to. Where we've already done all the heavy lifting in terms of recording, but we're looking to release a few songs. Looking forward to that. Some songs that I really like of our band playing. More so, I'm looking forward to the, hush, hush, hush changes that this podcast may go into very soon. Very exciting
it
changes, I have
is.
to
It
say.
is.
So very much looking forward to that. But I think it's more so slowing down and being a little bit easier on myself in terms of expectations. So, for example, with a new job, I know that I need at least, 6 to 9 months to just feel okay in the role. So just give myself that time, give myself that space, learn and be an open mind. Because the one thing that I really like is that now I feel like a student. So I feel like I'm learning
Yeah.
something new versus before that when I changed the role within my old team. Not necessarily that I wasn't learning anything new, but I knew a lot of the things that were happening, so I didn't need to learn a lot of new things. And now it's like a completely different learning curve,
Mm.
which I really like. So kind of taking not an MA, but might at some point that might happen.
Your parents will be thrilled.
My parents, oh yeah,
Yes.
being academic, it's if I would tell my mother that I would go for a PhD, I think her life would have been complete at that point. PhD is something that she wants her sons to have.
What would she say in Ukrainian? Like, what would be like, like what? A reaction.
Um,
Like, oh my God, what?
no,
My
well,
son, the
she
academic?
no, no, no. We don't have any academics. I think she'd just be so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she'd be really happy.
Well, who knows? Who knows what the future holds?
You never know. You never know. But that's what I like. I think one thing that I liked about this half year is that so I have a whiteboard where I have a lot of things kind of mapped out for myself. I like that that's so visual because it reminds me all the time what my focuses should be. At the same time, I don't want the whiteboard to be so packed. I
Mm,
think
mm,
the more space and freedom I have, the better it is for myself, and because that's how I better operate. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a lot of things that have happened in the first half of the year, but then their buildup has happened. The foundation has been built, and now
mm.
they're going to manifest themselves in the second half of the year. But to myself, I think I want to slow down a little bit
Yeah.
and
Give yourself some strokes, right?
yes, give myself some strokes and just kind of be my own friend and not
Nice.
overpower myself too much.
And you know what we're both looking forward to is applying more TA to
What's TA?
life. I don't know. I've heard about this podcast. You should check it out.
Oh,
Okay,
okay, every
every day.
day. Okay, every day. Yeah, I've heard about it. I've heard about it.
It's on the up and up, I believe. But yeah, I am looking forward to more episodes, and certainly the next group is really really interesting. But I do love that
True.
we're getting the word out there more about TA and how applicable it is, and how it actually yeah, if you really drill into it, it can actually change your life. It certainly changed my life
Mm,
when I studied it. But
same.
yeah, so I just that revs me up. That keeps me buoyant. It doesn't to make me feel kind of draggy.
You know what? I like these kind of retrospectives. It gives a little not necessarily the word closure came to mind, but not necessarily closure as in as a good acknowledgement of the work we've done together in the podcast. What do you feel about the retrospective? How do you feel? How do you feel we've progressed so far?
Yeah, again, we haven't done one before, I don't
No?
think.
No?
So I quite like that we're living the TA stuff, which is slowing down, reflecting, going a bit deeper, sharing, being vulnerable. So this is it right here. So yeah, I'm like really enjoying actually that we popped this in there. I hope the listeners are too, or the viewers. Maybe they're not. They think, who are these two guys just waffling on? But we're getting value out of it. So that's important. So no, yeah, I think yeah, I look forward to doing the next one later on down the track. You worry about yourself?
Yes, same here. I think it's a really good reminder of what we've been doing, and today I think is also a great episode that shows how TA is applicable because we've been talking about the drivers all season,
Mm.
and now we're saying, oh yeah, but we also have these drivers happening to us constantly, you know, and it's fine. It's just for us to be aware of them and how they show up and how we can balance them out a little bit. So, with this, dear viewers, dear listeners, thank you for being with us on this episode of OK Every Day, where Jason and I did a little retrospective in the last 6 months of OK Every Day. If you liked this video, and we really hope you did, because we just love rambling and waffling, I think the term is, Jason, that you mentioned. If you did like this, press the like button, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in TA content, amazing. Click the subscribe button to be posted and informed of every OK Everyday episode that comes out soon. In any case, we really hope that you stay okay
Every day.
every day.